Hey, Mr. Clash here, and today we're going to have a look at this base getting 3-starred by Witch Slap, and we're going to have a look at it 3 or 4 times, and we're going to zero in on the different parts of the base as we do so. Now, firstly, the general plan. Witches on this side, witches coming in from the bottom. Golem, you'll notice I'm bringing in a golem, and I'm bringing in 9 witches, so I'll put 3 on the left, on the right, 3 at the bottom. I'll get my golem in on this mortar, and then I'll have 3 witches here, and I'll have a jump spell to get to that expo, then a jump spell right on the town hall, and then everything will path over into the town hall in some way, shape or form. Even if they don't jump over that expo because the bowler double bounce will take it out, they can at least path around into it that way. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at the main attack, then we'll focus on these left hand witches going down, then we'll focus on the right hand witches going down, and then we'll focus on the middle troops going down. And I think you're going to be seeing something very interesting when we do all of those little focusing bits and pieces, because it's only a short attack. So we'll just start with this first. So I've got 3 witches down. Now remember, in this troop composition, now the healers dropped. Now the thing was, I had an issue with the troop selector, so it didn't select the witches. So when I went to deploy them, oh god, the healers dropped. So now I'm like, uh-oh, whatever. So I've dropped the golem. Now for some reason he's rerouting over to the bomb tower, and that's not really what I wanted. So I've had to drop the queen on that side a little bit more than I really wanted to drop the queen on that side. I wanted to drop the queen together where the bowlers were to try and take out the high storage areas. But now that queen's going to go walking on the right hand side, and the witches on the left will take care of the enemy queen all by themselves very well, very easily. Thank you very much. Now the shape of this base has kind of enabled the bowlers to make sure that they were going to go in, because even though there was that little bit of trash there, the double bounce of the bowlers made that trash was going to be taken out pretty well. And as the bowlers moved forward, that little sort of indentation in the base meant that the bowlers had nowhere else to go. They were going to be going in. So do look for those sorts of things in bases as well if you're going to be doing Witch Slap or anything that's got bowlers. If you can look for little bits and pieces of the base where the part of the base actually helps funnel the bowlers to get them in. So as you can see, the queen's still walking around on the right hand side with her witches. Now you've heard me say before that a walking queen with a couple of witches is a very devastating thing. Now I just had dropped a little archer tower on the top barracks builder's hut thing up there, and the little archer tower on the left thing as well. So this base is wrecked. As you can see, it was less than 2 minutes, actually less than 1:45. Now we'll have a look again, but this time we're going to focus on the left hand side witches, and just to see how they fare all by themselves. Then we'll focus on the right hand side witches, and then we'll concentrate on the middle of the base. And it's a very interesting thing just to focus on one part of the attack. Now you can see here that the witches are coming in to take out the king. Now they don't have the highest damage from their little witch plasma balls or whatever they throw, and the skeletons are getting wiped out pretty smartly by the mortar, but it's not affecting the witches at all. So you've got the 1 witch there on the left. Now remember, we're only bringing 3 witches on each side. Now one of the benefits of bringing 3 witches on each side instead of, say, 5 is that the witches are going to be less confused and less spread out, which is going to benefit the healers. So you can see here the witches aren't all spreading out going different directions, so they're all getting the same heal. Now have a look at this enemy archer queen just here now. Watch how the skeletons are zeroing in on her, and even with a Tesla and the queen shooting at them, they still overpower the enemy queen. So that's why you've heard me say just drop the wizard there to help with the witches now as well. And that wizard and those 3 witches do a tremendous amount of work. Now you've heard me say with Witch Slap it doesn't matter about the enemy queen, and this is an example why. If she's near the wall, the witches will take her out. If she's inside, the bowlers will take her out. What matters is being able to get into the base more so, and to focus on a couple of key targets in the base. Now for me that is an expo. Getting the expos down. Now you can see here that wizard with those witches is all healed up. So the skellies are distracting all the weapons. Look at all the massive skellies that there are there now, and that whole side of the base goes down. And the queen, you can see, look, she's walked all the way over. So now we'll have a look at this again, and this time we'll be focusing on what happens with the queen. So I'll just zoom in for this first little piece here. Now the thing is that where this mortar is, and have a look where I drop the golem, and there should be no reason that the golem paths between the spell factory and the barracks. It should have just gone straight to the mortar instead of that area, but that doesn't matter. Look, the healers have now they abandoned the witches and they've gone to heal the golem. So now we'll just focus on the queen. Those other witches will go to the left and they will path in with the bowlers, and we'll be focusing on them later on again, and you'll see what they do. Now you can see here that the cannon is focused on trying to shoot the skeletons, and that means the cannon is not shooting the queen. Now you see the Tesla is also shooting the skeletons and not shooting the queen. So the queen did lose a little bit of health initially because she was getting a couple of shots by that cannon before she took it down. And again, the archer is shooting at the skeletons and not the queen. So the queen's health has stayed up again. Now this cannon down here will eventually shoot onto the queen, but again, it's being distracted by skeletons, and then it's come back to the inside skeletons instead of just locking onto the queen, because the queen is within range of that cannon, as you can see. Now it's locked onto a witch instead of the queen, and again now onto the skeletons, and before coming back. So when I've said that a walking queen with a couple of witches beside her is a very, very tough thing to deal with, here you can see that is exactly what's happening. And now imagine if she had some healers on her as well, so that that little bit of health she lost is healed back up, and that the witches would also be healed at the same time. So that's that replay. Now let's have a look at what happens in the core and why there was a little bit of benefit to sending witches in through the core with the golem. So we'll just have to wait for the golem to come down, but we'll zoom in a little bit here now. And what you're going to be seeing is how the double bounce position of the bowlers takes out some of the other things here, such as the king's pad, to help kind of funnel the bowlers in. So I've got the wizard down. He's going to start taking out a little bit of the trash. So the bowlers have come onto that. Now the only thing left for them to do is go around to the left, and as you can see, they've created their own funnel. And now the base, the walls of the base are creating and funneling the bowlers in. Now I've got 5 wizards up my sleeve. I haven't dropped them yet. Double poison on the enemy's clan castle. Wizards are coming in. Now there is a rage spell there, so once the wizards get a little bit of that, they'll help take out the dragon. Now we can focus on what's going on inside the base here, and you can see that the king and the bowlers have pathed around through that little funnely area through the base, over the jump spell and into that area, and you can see that there's still witches are up, spawning skeletons, and that there are still wizards in there shooting things as well. So by having the golem in there, the golem is tanking, and by having the witches in there, the witches' skeletons are also distracting weapons, while the bowlers sit back, the witches sit back, and the skeleton and the wizards come forward just that little bit more to take out the weapons. So the golem's doing tanking, and the troops behind him are just taking things out. So here I've only brought 1 golem in, but you can see that it's still alive. It's a couple of golemites now, but it's still alive. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you that even though there was a little bit of a mistake with the healer that happened there earlier, that I just wanted to show you the power of Witch Slap, but concentrate on the different aspects of Witch Slap so you can see how powerful each of those little components are together and how they all come together to wipe out max bases. So because we went with witches in the Witch Slap today, so the question needs to be something to do with witches. So the question of the day is, what is a witch's favourite subject or best subject at school? What is a witch's favourite subject or best subject at school? Why? It's spelling. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you for sticking around. Do please leave the video a thumb up. It does help the channel. Please leave the video a comment. Actually, let me know any sorts of variations on Witch Slap that you use. That's the Witch Slap with the healers. What troops do you use in between? So in this one, there were a golem and some wizards. What troops have you used? I've used Peckers, I've used Valkyries, I've used Hogs. I'd be interested to know what various troops you've used outside of the witches and the healers aspect as well. So do let me know which ones of those you have used. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.